Hey, what's up everybody, Dr. Mike here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a crucial topic for anyone over 60. Listen, you've spent years building a happy and healthy life, but what if I told you your kitchen, the heart of your home, might be harboring some silent killers that could impact all that? That's right, we're talking about those everyday items that seem harmless, but could actually be putting your health at risk. Stay tuned to find out what they are and how to protect yourself. Alright, let's start by raiding your pantry because you might be surprised at what you find lurking in there. Our first silent killer might be hiding in plain sight, and it's something most of us overlook. We're talking about expired canned goods. Yes, those cans that have been sitting in your pantry for who knows how long. I know, you probably have that can of soup from 2019 way back in the corner and it seems fine, right? It's easy to think that canned goods are invincible. But here's the thing. Canned goods are designed to last a long time, but that doesn't mean they last forever. Over time, even the best sealed cans can start to deteriorate. The food inside can break down and bacteria can start to grow, especially if the can is damaged or dented. This can lead to some pretty nasty consequences. Now you might be thinking, Dr. Mike, I have a strong stomach, a little bacteria won't hurt me. But let me tell you, it's not just about having a strong stomach. Trust me, food poisoning is no joke. It can hit you hard and fast, leaving you feeling miserable. We're talking about nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and in severe cases it can even land you in the hospital. The symptoms can be quite severe and debilitating, and for those over 60 your immune system isn't quite as robust as it used to be, making you even more susceptible to these nasty bugs. So what's the solution? How can you protect yourself and your loved ones? Simple, check those expiration dates. It's a small step that can make a big difference. Don't just glance at the year, actually read the month and day too. Make it a habit to regularly go through your pantry. And if it's past its prime, toss it out. It's better to be safe than sorry. Don't risk your health for a can of soup that's seen better days. A clean pantry is a healthy pantry. Remember, your health is an investment, not an expense. Take care of it by being mindful of what you consume. Okay, now let's move on to the stovetop because that non-stick cookware you love might be harboring a secret danger. You see, many non-stick pans are coated with a chemical called PTFE, also known as Teflon. Now in small amounts, PTFE is generally considered safe. But when those pans get scratched or overheated, PTFE can release toxic fumes into the air. And these fumes are no joke. They've been linked to flu-like symptoms, respiratory problems, and even organ damage in severe cases. And let's be honest, who hasn't accidentally overheated a pan or two in their lifetime? Now, I'm not saying you need to ditch your non-stick cookware entirely, but there are some simple steps you can take to protect yourself. First, avoid using high heat when cooking with non-stick pans. Second, use wooden or silicone utensils instead of metal ones to prevent scratching the surface. And finally, inspect your pans regularly and toss out any that are scratched or damaged. Let's be real, who doesn't love a good plate of leftovers? But did you know that improperly stored leftovers can be a breeding ground for bacteria? That's right, that delicious lasagna you're saving for tomorrow could turn on you if you're not careful. Here's the deal. Bacteria thrive in warm, moist environments. So when you leave leftovers sitting out on the counter for hours on end, you're basically rolling out the welcome mat for these microscopic invaders. And once they've set up shop, they can multiply rapidly, increasing your risk of food poisoning. So how can you enjoy your leftovers without the unwanted side effects? It's all about proper storage. First, refrigerate your leftovers within 2 hours of cooking. Don't wait for them to cool down completely, just pop them in the fridge. Second, store leftovers in airtight containers to prevent bacteria from sneaking in. And finally, when reheating, make sure the food is steaming hot all the way through to kill any lingering bacteria. Alright, it's time to talk about a silent killer that might be lurking in your cabinet's plastic containers. These everyday items, which we often take for granted, could be doing more harm than good. Now, not all plastic is created equal. Some are designed to be safer, while others pose significant risks to our health. Some types of plastic are perfectly safe for food storage, while others can leach harmful chemicals into your food, especially when heated. This is particularly concerning when you use them in the microwave or dishwasher. We're talking about plastics containing BPA or bisphenol A. This chemical is often found in many food containers and can be quite dangerous. This chemical has been linked to a whole host of health problems, including hormonal imbalances, reproductive issues, and even an increased risk of certain cancers. The evidence is mounting, and it's something we should all be aware of. And the scary part is, BPA can leach into your food even if the container doesn't appear damaged. Invisible cracks and wear can still release these harmful chemicals. So how can you protect yourself from this plastic prison? It's simpler than you might think, but it requires vigilance and a bit of knowledge. First, check the recycling symbol on your containers. These symbols can tell you a lot about the type of plastic you're dealing with. Avoid plastics with the numbers 3, 6, and 7, as these are more likely to contain BPA. These numbers are a quick way to identify potentially harmful containers. Second, opt for glass or stainless steel containers whenever possible, especially for storing acidic foods like tomato sauce. These materials are much safer and don't leach chemicals. And finally, if you do use plastic, avoid heating it in the microwave or dishwasher, as heat can accelerate the leaching process. Hand washing and air drying are safer alternatives. Let's be honest, most of us don't give much thought to our spice racks, but did you know that certain spices can actually pose health risks, especially for those over 60? That's right, those little jars of flavor enhancers could be silently impacting your health. One spice to be particularly mindful of is licorice root. While licorice root can have some health benefits in moderation, excessive consumption can lead to a condition called hypokalemia, which is a dangerously low level of potassium in the blood. This can cause fatigue, muscle weakness, and even heart rhythm abnormalities. Another spice to watch out for is nutmeg. While nutmeg is generally safe in small amounts, consuming large quantities can have hallucinogenic effects and even be toxic. So, while a sprinkle of nutmeg in your eggnog is fine, don't go overboard. Alright, let's talk about an unwelcome guest that nobody wants in their kitchen: mold. Mold thrives in damp, humid environments, making your kitchen a prime target. And while a little mold on your cheese might not seem like a big deal, exposure to mold can have serious consequences for your health. You see, mold releases tiny spores into the air, and when inhaled, these spores can trigger respiratory problems, especially for those with asthma or allergies. We're talking about symptoms like coughing, wheezing, shortness of breath, and even lung infections in severe cases. So, how can you keep this unseen enemy at bay? Prevention is key. First, control moisture levels in your kitchen by running the exhaust fan while cooking and fixing any leaks promptly. Second, clean up spills and messes immediately to prevent mold growth. And finally, if you do spot mold, don't just wipe it away. Use a bleach solution to kill the mold and its spores, ensuring it doesn't return. Alright, let's talk about a silent killer that's often overlooked: cross-contamination. This invisible threat can lurk in your kitchen, waiting to strike when you least expect it. You see, it's not enough to simply cook your food thoroughly. You also need to be mindful of how you handle it before, during, and after cooking to prevent the spread of harmful bacteria. This means paying attention to every step in your food preparation process. Imagine this: you're preparing raw chicken on a cutting board, and then you use that same cutting board to chop vegetables for your salad. Sounds harmless, right? Wrong. This common mistake can lead to serious health issues. You've just transferred bacteria from the raw chicken to your vegetables, putting yourself at risk of food poisoning. These bacteria can cause severe illness, especially in vulnerable individuals like children and the elderly. So how can you avoid this cross-contamination chaos? It's simpler than you might think, but it requires diligence and good habits. It's all about establishing good kitchen hygiene. A clean kitchen is your first line of defense against harmful bacteria. First, always wash your hands thoroughly with soap and water before and after handling food, especially raw meat. This simple step can significantly reduce the risk of contamination. Second, use separate cutting boards for raw meat and produce. Label them if necessary to avoid any mix-ups. Third, wash all utensils and surfaces that have come into contact with raw meat with hot, soapy water before using them for anything else. This ensures that no bacteria are left behind. And finally, store raw meat on the bottom shelf of your refrigerator to prevent drips from contaminating other foods. By following these simple steps, you can protect yourself and your loved ones from invisible threats lurking in your kitchen. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this video helpful in identifying those silent killers lurking in your kitchen. Remember, knowledge is power, and by taking these simple steps, you can create a safer and healthier environment for yourself and your loved ones. If you found this video helpful, Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more health tips and advice. And be sure to share this video with your friends and family, especially those over 60 so they can protect themselves too. Stay safe and healthy.